Mr. Chairman, this amendment would exempt anyone in DACA or who's been given temporary protected status from the provisions of this bill. Well, this administration has been granting TPS status at an unprecedented rate. It is one of the ways that the Democrats are circumventing our immigration laws and releasing illegal immigrants into our communities with little or no vetting. And I must once again take exception to this proclivity by some of the Democrats on this committee. They love to lump legal immigrants who've obeyed all of our laws and done everything our country's asked of them to do with illegal immigrants whose very first act entering our country is to commit a federal crime by illegally crossing the border. By their own actions, they demonstrate a contempt for our laws, and they demonstrate their willingness to violate those laws.
Will the gentleman yield for a question?
No, I won't. I'm making a statement. The current mandatory detention provisions that we have in law provide no, that are already in law, provide no exceptions for DACA or TPS granted individuals. So this amendment would actually broaden the applicability of our immigration laws beyond the current law. I would also point out, in response to this notion that somehow this is a recurring theme, I'll tell you what the recurring theme is. The recurring theme is Americans being victimized by this mass illegal migration. On Tuesday, a migrant was arrested for allegedly beating up a 50-year-old man with a rock and attempting to steal his wallet on a Brooklyn street. He was arrested after police responded to a robbery in progress in Greenpoint, according to the NYPD. A couple of weeks ago, 4 Venezuela migrants who've been in Chicago for as little as 1 month, 3 of whom were on pretrial release for retail theft. They lured a man to the back of a CTA train car and choked him into unconsciousness during a vicious robbery. These are the recurring acts that we are seeing as a result of the Democrats' open borders policy, and the American people have had enough of it. I just hope that they're watching these proceedings today and realize how the Democrats have not only unleashed the worst illegal mass migration in recorded history, but have defended it every day in this committee for the last 3 years. And now we're seeing the results of it in our communities. With that, I'll yield back.
Gentleman yield for a question now?
Sure.
Gentleman yields to the gentleman from New York.
Thank you. You make a point that I disagree with, but I'm not going to argue it. But I will ask you this. You say that we're being victimized by people who entered this country illegally and they have no right to be here and so forth. DACA recipients who may have come to this country at the age of 2 months old or 2 years old, did not commit any crime by coming here. Maybe their parents did by bringing them here, but it wasn't their fault. Would you accept an amendment if it were just to exempt DACA recipients?
Well, the problem is those DACA recipients are now grown-ups, and the first thing we ask of grown-ups in our society is to obey our laws, including our immigration laws. The fact that they've been violating those laws during their entire lifetimes does not excuse them from that. I would suggest that perhaps we should invite them to return to their home countries and apply for admission the way millions of legal immigrants do every year, who obey our laws and respect our country's sovereignty.
People who know only the United States and regard it as their home country because they've been here since they were 2 months old.
Granted, that is an exception. I would have to agree with you on that point. However, if we allow such exceptions, we simply invite a new wave of illegal immigration, bringing new 2-month-olds into the country to acquire the same rights over time. That's the problem that we have in this discussion right now, Mr. Nadler. I mean, there are many of us who would like to address that issue that you raised, the 2-month-old who's brought into this country and has grown up here and knows no other. But we cannot address that until we have secured our borders and restored our immigration laws, because if we don't do that, we're simply inviting new waves, as this administration has over the past 3 years. So let us fix the problem, and then we can address the issue that you raise. I yield back.